Oi, oi, you beautiful people out there. It's Friday Eve. Well, it is here anyway. Depends on when you're hearing this, of course. It's been a great week. I've really enjoyed this week. Yeah, I had my moments, but, you know, as far as it's been pretty damn good. And this one's all about the bumps, what I call the mistakes. There's no fails. So if you're afraid of mistakes, you know, it's best to call them bumps, and I'll explain that in a minute. And there is no fails. How can you fail when you start thinking about what we're about to talk about? So please, from here in sunny Florida, give me some comments, if you will. Hit that like. Show me some of that love out there, yeah? Because there's one thing I love to do, is get this message out to you guys. But now it's down to you guys to spread the word out there to the many and get it out there to those that need it or can do with it. I'm here in sunny Florida. I am a certified counsellor, and this is a way of me being able to communicate things out to you guys that hopefully will help. So yeah, let's get into the subject, eh? Because I think we all fear it, right? We all fear it. God, someone's only got to say that bloody word, right? Mistake. And you hear it going, it's like slow-mo. And you're like, oh no. Right, incoming, right, take cover quickly. Oh, I don't want to hear that. Oh no, here it comes. Right, we shit ourselves. Why do we shit ourselves? Because I'll tell you what, right, listen, if you think, especially when it comes down to like sports personalities and musicians, right, if they don't make what I'm going to explain about, but I call them bumps. Whenever I'm doing work with my guys, I call them bumps because it's not aggressive. A bump's not aggressive sounding. Mistake is like, bring down the wall. I'm cutting you off. Right? It's like you can't go any further or something. Like, what the fuck? Right? It's like, hang on. It's like you hit a wall. As soon as someone says, you made a mistake, it's like, why can't someone say, you know, you made a bit, okay, let's look at it. Let's look at it a little bit differently. Yes, it's not gone how we was planning it on going, right? But we get, you made a mistake. And then we go, oh no. But let's look at it. Yeah? Because think about it, really. If a musician doesn't make a mistake, or a sports person doesn't make a mistake in their sport, and I know a good few surfers out there, by the way, that like, thank you for tuning in, all those guys, because I talk about the old Zen-y bit of the mind, and breathing exercises. You can really help get something out of this stuff, and I do talk about different things with surfing as well. So. But, I know surfers out there that if they don't make those certain mistakes and they don't know how to adjust, and it's a constant way, it's you reading the water. Yes, the water is what's getting you along, but you got to read it and then adjust to whatever there's coming, because it's always different, right? One wave isn't the same as the next wave. They're always different waters, different depths, different, all kinds of things. I mean, I'm not a surfer. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a surfer. It's one of those things that I've, especially since I've really been getting into the mind a lot more over the past few years, and looking at it and then just bumping into surfers and talking to them and then starting to realise, there's a relationship here between me and them. But I don't surf. I like the mind side of it. I think it's amazing. That Zen-y, using your environment and and the full respect of the water. these guys respect the waves. They're not, you know, because that wave, when you're banging out some pretty heavy shit on a wave, that wave will let you know that you're nothing to that wave, right? You've only got to not make that adjustment, right? And it will tell you, okay, well, I'm just going to swallow you up now, throw you around a little bit, maybe break a few ribs, dislocate a shoulder, you know, there you go, and then toss you up on the beach, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember not to do that. So anyway, talking of bumps and mistakes, right, it's exactly that. You may get into some where you may have loss, you may get hurt. I'm not saying that it's, you know, it's a cream with a cherry on the top. That's not what I'm saying. But it's a matter of looking at it a little differently. This is the why I call them bumps to my guys, because a bump you can either go over, go around, or go through. It might take a bit of digging to go through, right? Depending on the size of the bump, might take a little bit of pushing to get over. And depending on the width of that bump, or the breadth of it, or whatever you want to call it, depends on how long it's going to take you to walk to get to the side where you can walk around it. But you don't stop there. You don't come to a bump and go, oh. Because I tell you, if you think of it like the word mistake, when a wall comes down, I always imagine me going up to a wall. I know this is going to sound really weird, but this is how I imagine it. I wish I could draw it in a cartoon. If anybody can draw this for me, please draw this for me. All these beautiful artists out there that I know, if you can draw this like a wall down the middle and someone on the other side like scratching their head because the wall's got to represent a mistake. But on the other end, literally just on the other side of the wall is what they really want. But they're willing to stop at the wall. But when you come up into a bump, you can see over a bump. Hopefully, right? You can see over the bump. So, and then it's easier to have the mind think in the manner of, okay, if you use the word bump for a mistake, all of a sudden it brings your anxieties down some, right? I always call bumps learning experiences. Whenever one of my guys comes up and they say the word mistake or whatever, I'm like, right, what'd you learn? And sometimes they look at you like, what? What are you talking about? But there's always something. There's always something. Even if it means that you've got talking to someone that may be involved in something that you're doing, and all of a sudden you've got the understanding. You may have heard that the person doesn't know what they're talking about, or they could be like kind of on the dangerous side as far as don't follow what they do, that'll get you in trouble kind of thing. And then you get into a conversation with that person and you're like, okay, now you've got a reality. You learn something. Just because it doesn't work out with that person doesn't mean that it's like bring the wall down and done. It just means that you can't work with that person. And you learned that through communication with them or not, whatever the case may be, right? Sometimes we're trying to communicate and they don't want to communicate back. And that comes with a lot of people. Friends as well, by the way. Right? So start looking at it, first of all, as a bump. That's the first thing. And what is it about the word itself, mistake? Why is it so damn bloody scary? Because it's a word, and it's something that has a lot of bloody impact when you say it. Especially if you say it to yourself, I made a mistake. It's like, oh, don't even say it. It's like, what does it hit for you? What does it hit for you? Think, stop. Even if you have to pause this, think, and write something down, like right on the top of the piece of paper. Mistake, what does it mean? And then just go down and what's the emotional shit that happens for you? Because that's what's the problem is. It's not the actual word, it's the things that are underneath. But those things that are underneath are the things that stop you from wanting to go forward. So now what we do is we match the two together as now that mistake is bad because now I'm not going forward and doing it. But what you're doing is you're tuning into some of the things like not feeling worthy if you make the mistake, or feeling like you're not good enough, or all of a sudden, You know, what if someone's been telling you, you won't be able to do that, you won't be able to do that, you ain't going to be able to do that. You go and try it, you make a bit of a mistake or whatever, make a mess of something. You don't go back to it, right? And you're telling yourself you're a failure. First of all, there's no failing either. So, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you're starting to beat yourself up and all that, right? And then you turn around and go, I'm not able to do it, because you've been hearing it, and now you all of a sudden, because you might have been something very, small. And I know I'm using the word small relatively, by the way, because it can be really big for us, right? Something small to somebody else is really big to somebody else. So, I'm using that word a little bit like, loosely, right? But we'll grip onto that, and then start telling ourselves, I'm not able to do it, or I'm not good enough to do it, or I'm weak. I can't seem to be able to get across to this person what I'm looking for. I keep making mistakes. We get that when we feel intimidated by somebody, because we believe that they're better than us or something, or they're a higher standard than us. Yes, there's different standards, but it doesn't mean you can't reach that standard, which means you're just as good as they are. But what we do is we start getting our mouth all bleeding tied up and everything, right, when we're around them. And then we might say we're doing something orally as far as an oral exam or something, right? And we keep saying the wrong thing because we're feeling intimidated. Breathe. What I do is I'll turn it and say, I'm going to teach these people something. All of a sudden, that tells the brain something a bit different, doesn't it? All of a sudden, it's got a little bit of that boost of confidence. What else is it? Afraid of judgment. We are all afraid of being judged, all of us, in a negative manner. Bring on the judgment as far as the, pumping the old positive vibes, right? Oh, you look great today. Oh, you've got a beautiful pair of shoes on. Oh, you look radiant today. Yeah, well, bring that on. We'll love all that, right? Yeah. But as soon as someone turns around and judges us, we go to bleeding shit, right, in a negative way. Well, when we believe that what we've just made the bump on, right, reflects back, it starts to bleed and knock us a bit, right? Not only does it knock, what about the ego? What about the ego, right? That always comes into problems, right? The ego, oh yeah, that always wants, depending on what it is, but hey, that wants to be protected. It doesn't want to be seen as making these bumps. No. Excuse me, by the way. It doesn't want to be, because, and then it's like, oh, and then the judgment again, right? The ego and then the judgment. And then when you get a judgment, oh, that knocks the ego. But that's the things that we are thinking about that's going to happen. And it's a matter of looking at those insecurities that you have and going to see somebody and going working on that bit. Because it's having a problem when you're hitting some of those bumps that may be something that you can work out very easily, but all this insecurity shit will kick in and it knocks you for six. That's when that awareness comes in, right? Now think about the things you learn, right? The learning experiences of this, because once you start turning it and looking at the bumps as not a bad thing, and you start looking at the good that comes out of it, you can start turning your mind around. And that opposite side, there's always opposites. Balance. There's always an opposite to something, right? So what things are there? The learning experiences that you've had. The things that you've picked up it could be something that you're not even thinking about, but you've picked something up. Maybe how to stay calmer. Maybe working on your patience, maybe working on one of your own insecurities with something. It doesn't turn out to be a mistake once you've got some kind of handle and you've worked on something with yourself with that. Where's the mistake? You learn something valuable, maybe about yourself, right? What about the PPA, the positive progressive actions that you've made? It didn't just end there. There was a process to you getting there. You didn't just go straight in. There was probably build up to it, a lot of stuff that you've done along the way that has actually moved you forward. The movement has gone forward. Yes, movement forward from bumps, absolutely. It's the reason why musicians and sports people and probably a whole myriad of other different skilled people, why they welcome that coming in. When I was out in the kitchens and chefing, I went into it like I did with this. I still do, I love cooking, but I did love it. It was only my anxiety that got in the way and the panic and all that I ended up not being able to stay in it. But I absolutely loved it. And I wanted to be the best of, the best I could be. Always improving, always wanting to be better. And one of those things was I wanted to cut stuff quick, fast, like you see them on TV, right? And I used to watch these guys on TV and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And I remember I was doing a day release program from my first year of college when I was in college, because I did 2 years on a full-time basis. And then when I got my job chefing in the House of Commons, then they sent me off for another 2 years on a work release program, and I did my advanced. But of course, when you're starting out, I was in my first year, I wanted to cut like those. I want to cut like them guys. I want to do that. And you have got no idea the amount of bits of skin and cuts and yes, the bumps that I did. Can I do it now? Yeah. How did I learn? By making those mess ups here and there. Whoop, I had my finger out a little bit too far there. I took a bit. Oh, hang on a minute. Okay. It makes you think quick. You start to learn. But if I'd have stopped at the first cut, like, oh, I didn't like that, and that bloody hurt, and I stopped, who knows? I might not have even been a bloody chef. I don't know, because you want to learn how to cut up a bit sharpish. Otherwise, you're going to be standing there and they're all going to be looking at you going, what the heck? Where are you from? Right? But there is movement forward. There is movement forward. And what about networking and things that you may have done along the way? Right? And the learning, like I said before, the who not to go to. And the ones that you know that you can go to. You may have picked up some names and that along the way. Right? And this comes into the, I'm mixing in a little bit of like failure and stuff in with this as well. Because when it comes to failure, how can you fail? It's the same concept, right? If you've done something and yes, like I say, you may take a bit of a whoop, right? A slap in the mush, a little bit, right? Your old boat race gets a little bit red because you're taking a big old slap across the face, right? So yes, I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. Yeah, we get hurt. But what do? We look at that, we blow that up hugely, and we go, we failed. I failed. Hang on a minute. What did you learn along the way? Are you going to go back and do it again? Why would you stop there? Why would you stop? If you're something you're passionate about and you want it, keep moving towards it. And I always say that the smaller steps are way bigger than the bigger steps. Yes, you're going to have some of those bigger steps where you're going to be like, oh, blimey, I jumped forward a bit, right? But if you do the smaller steps, you're not going to miss them if you take a big old step forward and miss a bunch of those little steps, because sometimes those little steps, in fact, a lot of the times, those little steps are really important, really important. Like when I was cutting shit up fast, tucking your fingers in that little bit, how you feel the blade on your fingers when I'm right-handed. So I was always, dominant hand, blade in right hand. But it was feeling like where that was. I can talk to people now while I'm cutting stuff up. But it's only because of the repetition, and the amount of times that I caught myself and stuff. But anyway, getting back to fail, you can't fail. It's like I gave up my chefing career. I sure did. Didn't want to. Wasn't something I had planned. Like I said, I've met a bunch of cool, beautiful human beings out there. And by the way, if any of you guys, are out there who knew me through my chefing days back in London, get a hold of me. I'm on WhatsApp. Look me up. Get a hold of me if you want to. If you don't, no, it's all right. It's so cool. But yeah, get a hold of me because I tell you, things have changed a lot. Things have changed. Well, they have on my end. Things have changed a lot. And, but I absolutely loved chefing. Loved it. And I made my way up to where I got out to a restaurant called Victoria and Albert's out in Disney. And it's in the Grand Floridian Hotel. And I made it in there. And, without... No, damn it, no, I'm gonna say it because normally I back out of it thinking it's my ego or I'm being a big head or anything. But no, they made a position for me at this restaurant. There wasn't a position there for me, but I wanted that restaurant. And they had offered me another one. Disney had offered me another one. I'd gone through an interview process and I'm like, no, I want to go there. I was getting up in my 20s. I was in my 20s and I wanted to be in a spot. And I'm like, no, I want that. And I got the job on the spot. I went out there. I did a 3 day of work for them, working in the kitchen, and they offered me the job. And that was the last kitchen I worked in, really, as a profession. I've done stuff as far as I did a cafeteria place once, and I was helping a guy out. Trying to upgrade it a little bit. That went a bit tits. Not on my end by any means, but and I've been in, I've done some work and dinner parties and stuff like that. But professionally, that was the last kitchen I actually, if I can remember, stepped foot in. My wife is probably getting, no, you didn't. But I think that was the last one I did professionally. And I tell you, it absolutely bloody killed me when I had to leave it. Oh, mate, it freaking devastating. That's all I knew. Pots and pans, that's all I knew. I didn't know anything else. That's what I knew. Because when I left school, I didn't even go and pick up my qualifications when I left high school. I couldn't be bothered. I was so done with it. I was bullied and everything as well, so... I was like, done with that, done with school. I'm out. So when there I am looking for, there's a whole story behind this, but then I'm looking for a job and all that, and then thank God, by the grace of God, I wish I could remember his name. There was a fella that I think his name was John, but I can't remember his surname. Worked in this careers office and said, what about college? And I'm like, forget that, college, nah. And he's like, it's not like school. And anyway, I ended up in college and that was it. I found chefing. And I'd been doing it, pots and pans and cleaning pots and pans and all that. I did that for 11 months, being a porter, cleaning shit up. And that's a horrible job. But yeah, I absolutely loved chefing. Worked through the House of Commons for 6.5 years. Chefed through there again, met some amazing people. Done some chefing over here, and then it was the Victoria and Albert's, which again, by the way, beautiful restaurant. By the way, go and check it out. It's a really cool place, and you can. They've got an actual. Table in the kitchen. Now, when I worked there, it literally was a table just over on the side of the kitchen. They've made it into a room now, which is kind of like, but it was an actual, when we was working, we would be working around this table and then you could sit and have a meal with the chef and you could get up if you wanted to and ask questions as long as you didn't get in the way. Which, when service hits, that's difficult. Ask any chef out there. They'll tell you, as soon as that clock goes, ding, service, oh, shit, game on. Here we go. But yes, I was devastated. But what did I learn? Look at the people I met, the memories that I've got of it, the things that I've tasted, the educating of my taste buds is just crazy. I've tasted different foods that I may not ever see again. I've learned a lot. I learned that when we got our first apartment, we didn't have much money. Trust me, it came in really bloody handy knowing how to cook cheap. And I did wonders with cans of tuna and pasta. I'm not sure how many ways I did it, but blimey, yeah. But if I didn't have that knowledge, where would I have been? It happened for a reason. It got me to that position to where I was able to get up. Me and my wife, my wife then. I can't remember. I wasn't here that long before we got married, and it got us out of a spot. Got us out of a spot, bleeding quick and all. When we, the bread as well. The bread was too expensive and all that. So I'm like, hey, get a 50-pound bag of flour, get some yeast. We'll get some dried yeast and that. I'll start banging out loads of bread, and that's what I was doing. And I remember the memory of it is so nice. It's so nice because there I was in an apartment, little tiny apartment, small apartment. This was our other apartment when we was in Silver Spring, Maryland. And we was in an apartment building there, and I had we managed to be able to buy a rack. We got this rack. I can't remember if I was chefing then. I remember I was in a dinner theatre at one point, and I can't remember if I was in the dinner theatre then. But yeah, just the knowledge that I picked up. So, yes, my career went, and I used to look at it as a complete and utter fuck up, basically. Yeah, I did. And it dragged me down, and freaking, you want to talk about getting depression and shit. I went from something where I was go to like dead as a doornail. Wasn't able to work because of my anxieties and everything, and my mental health was like really not good. Then I went off and did all the exams, state exams and everything for pest control. I got in, there's a whole story behind that, had a business. That went down because the anxiety was getting in the way. But again, do I know how to take care of things around the house now? Yeah, shit. Yeah, long way to do it, right? Long way about it. But yeah, I know how to do it. I met one of my great brother to me. Big shout to Tim. He got me through all my training leading up to go and do the exams and everything. But again, that went. And it was, what was really crazy is I even let my license go. Normally you keep it, people would say, what'd you do that for? And I get it, but I found this, what I do. And I have so much confidence in as far as where this is going. This won't end. I love what I do. Absolutely. I can't, it just, if someone's feeling it or whatever, and I can make a difference or change something for them, God, it's just rewarding, just so rewarding. And it's beautiful to see. But those things before, I learned a lot. So there was no fail. I didn't fail at chefing. I didn't fail at pest control. In fact, I learned a lot. So I didn't fail shit. Yes, did it go to the side and I kind of gave it up? Yeah. And even when I let my license go, and I remember because you get so many days, I think it's like, I might get this wrong now. Is it 120? God, I can't remember. There's all laws and everything I had to remember. But you get so long before to renew it, and I gradually let it go. And when I got that letter saying, you're no longer licensed, it was really weird. It was kind of a little bit scary, because again, it was another one of those like, oh shit, the backup's gone. But having that reliance on like, why do I, and then going back, again, it's questioning yourself. Why do I need reliance? If I'm looking for a reliance, then where's my energy? My energy is not going fully into what I want to do completely. So think about it, guys, yeah? Think about it. How can you be making those bumps? Well, mistakes, right? We'll say mistakes right now. Think about them as bumps. Because a mistake, you just keep going. You just keep doing it. You keep going until you make it and learning as you go along until you do it. I knew someone in England who took their driving test. It was about 8 times. But you know what? They got it in the end. What if they would have stopped at the first time and telling themselves all this debilitating negative shit in their head, and then they wouldn't have gone forward, would they? I've got many stories around it, but when I look back at all the different things, and I'm thinking, I've learned a lot. So, you know what? Start turning that mind around, guys. Please come and check me out on Sunday morning. I do a live on my YouTube channel. Please, please, please get over there and subscribe. It's growing and building, and I'm like really stoked about it. Because it means the community's building, which means there's more people getting my message out there. But don't let it stop at the few, which is you guys. Toss this out to the many, please, please, please. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great weekend. Namaste.